See, no software in the quantity surveying history would do this in details for you. No software. But this software is doing all of this for you. Everyone, good day and welcome to the Academy for Digital Learning and Mastery Studio, ADLM. On this channel, we've been discussing various quantity surveying softwares such as PlanSwift, Revit, MyBuildCost, Costex, and others. Now, in today's video, we'll be taking it a step further on discussing features of the MyBuildCost software. In this session, I'll be putting us through how to create your own default library for quantity takeoff and estimation. One of the major advantages of this MyBuildCost software is that it allows you to prepare your takeoff list and takeoff library even beforehand. So we'll be preparing the takeoff library for a simple substructure project that's based in Nigeria here. So for you to prepare a quantity takeoff for a strip foundation substructure project, that means you have to go through all of this process to actually identify the work items, that's the work breakdown items, and you have to have this on your library. Now, while building your work breakdown items for quantity takeoff, you're also including the rate factors also. So I'll just put us through to just build a simple default library here and how to prepare your quantity takeoff and your bill of quantity from this. And don't forget, as you're preparing your bill of quantity, you're also preparing your material labor schedule. So let's get into it right now. Upon registering and going into your MyBuildCost platform, you would see a part called settings up here. Now, once you get to the settings page here, you would see the features right here. Okay, once you get to the settings page, you are greeted with your user's default user page. Once you click on this triple dot icon here, you see the master library. This is where you can create your own default library for your own work to be done. Now, if you click on this master library, you see there's an ADLM library that was done before, but you are creating your own library. Now, for us to do that, you click on this plus sign and you click add new master library. And you can also request for a library for your region. For those in India, Pakistan, America, Europe, and all of that, you can always request your own library from MyBuildCost. But for we in Nigeria, we don't have our library in default here. So you have to build your own library for your specific quantity takeoff format. Now, all you do is you click this add master library. Once you load that in, it will request for the name of the library. So let's just name this ADLM YouTube library. You can either create from an existing library or create a new library from scratch, or you can create a library by importing an Excel file. Those are the three methods of creating library. For creating from an existing library, or just click on this drop down. If you have a library before, which is the one I showed you earlier, the ADLM default library, just click on this and it creates a new library for you based on an existing library. Then you can create a new library from scratch, which is what we'll be doing in today's session. You can also create by importing an Excel file. Once you click on this, you all just do is drag and drop the Excel file. Now, the Excel file will only have your work breakdown structure. So you can usually download the sample format file. Once you download the format file, you would see how to structure your Excel file. So once you structure your Excel file in that format, you can just drag the file and drop into this point, and voila. With this method, we are just using the create new library from scratch here. Once you click on this create new library from scratch, add. You see we have a new library page here. Now right here we have the name of the library, which is the ADLM YouTube library up here, and we have items, resources, and add-on. Don't worry, the items here are the work items. That's your work breakdown. So for your substructure, each items of work that you'll be measuring for your substructure, that is your work breakdown. While the resources here are the materials that would be used for each of those items. Now, materials like cement, sharp sand, granite, hardwood, softwood, nails, and others are all categorized under the resource section. And add-on are extra features that was your contractors overhead, your profit overhead, and all of that. Those are all under the add-on section. Now for the items, this is what we'll be building. Now this is the advantage of the software right here. Now while you're building the items, resources that are located to those items and the add-on that are located to those items, all of that will be made available for you by default. So it's not like you have to come back to create a resource separately or the add-on separately. While you're creating the work items, you can also create your resource and add-on as you would see while we're working now. Come back to items, right? Now click on add new items. and click on add new items, it gives us the new page here. Now for this here, we have the work items here, then we have the category, the subcategory, then the item name itself. Now we have the rate type. Now for this rate type, we have different rate type here. We have the direct rate and the unit rate. Direct rate is lump sum cost, while unit rate is a broken down cost method. Then item type. For the item type, we can either have just material. If the rate is just material based, you have material with material and labor. That's both of them. Then for labor based items, machinery and equipment, services, or subcontract. So subcontract is like a direct cost method, while the service also is also a direct cost method. But the machinery, labor, equipment, and materials, they are all under different. They need to be broken down to various aspects. Now moving on, we have the quantity. Now the quantity is the smallest quantity of that particular work item. For example, 1 meter square, 1 cubic meter, 1 number. So the smallest quantity that has that rate per ton, per kg. Do you understand? So that is what we are building this based on. Now for this first work category here, since we are working with substructure, the category here will be substructure. Okay, so you just type this in as substructure. That will be the category name. Now upon typing this in as substructure, now the subcategory aspect here, for this subcategory, you would put this is like a subgroup under the item. Now this is optional. There are some items of work that have the subcategories, and there are some items of work that does not require you to have a subcategory. This is why one thing I like doing the most is I like listing out my work breakdown and this. So let me show you a simple work breakdown I have that would guide me in preparation, so my work will be more accurate. Now there's a work breakdown that I prepared with my Microsoft project. Let me load that up. Now this is a simple work breakdown structure from Microsoft project here. Based on what we have here, we have the list of various items of work. That's various work items here for substructural works. We have from site clearance, topsoil removal, and others. So we have all of that right here. So this is a simple work breakdown items here. What I'll do is I would now adjust this using my split screen. I'll adjust this to the side of the screen and have my build cost also on the other side of the screen here. I can just easily adjust this just to one side, so we have more of our screen real estate. Now this is how it looks like here. We have the complete work breakdown item for substructure for a simple strip foundation building. And this one we have here is for mix, that's for pad and strip foundation, but we only pick the work items that has to do with the strip foundation alone. Now what I want you to notice here is, you see for the site clearance and topsoil excavation, they are not under any subcategory. They're just direct work items under substructure. Okay, so that's for this subcategory will not be needed here. And for the work item itself, which is the name of the work item itself, we'll name this site clearance. Now for site clearance here, we know this is a unit rate analysis, and it's just a labor based item of work. For quantity here, that will be 1, and the unit will be in meter square. That's square meter. You see this rate aspect. Now you see the rate here. We have information here, rate per square meter and rate per square feet. Now this is square meter and this is the rate aspect here. Now you can just type in the rates outrightly here, or you can create a breakdown for your rates. Now for us to create a breakdown, click on this resource icon. Under this resource, you see this plus icon down here. This is resources here. So just click on this here. Then we click label. Now for label here, just input the name of the label. That's site clearance. That means this label item, it's only for site clearance here. That's what this is for. Now for the quantity here, that will be 1. That's the lowest, like I told you earlier, lowest area that will be covered. That's 1 square meter. So the cost per square meter for site clearance in my area here is, let's say, 150 or 180 or 180 naira. You can now add your tax also. That's 7.5%. So you can add your tax while we are building your rates. Okay, now you know if your tax are inbuilt into your rates, that means at your bill summary there won't be tax item, if you remember. Okay, So that's just normal simple bill preparation method. So while you're building your rate, you can either choose to have your tax item here or leave it blank. Then next item here is the contractors add-on. That's your overhead and profit. So just add it overhead and profit. Now once you have your overhead and profit here, it will be in percentage. So what's the percentage? Yeah, that is 25%. Okay, just put 25% overhead and profit. So it might be more, it might be less. So it depends on you. Now you sit down here, we have your tax component is 13.5. Now the tax from the rate here. Your rate here is in percentage. If it's in amount, but it's usually in percentage. That's 25% of the cost. So once you've done this and you have your total rate as 241 naira per square meter, because this was built in naira. So just click on add here. Once you click on add, it adds that item of work directly to your master library immediately. Now you'd see what happens after it. See, we have the site clearance here, which is the item name. Let me just, okay, we have the site clearance name, substructure, the rates, and the units created by me. If you are in a work setting that you have various users, like now, once you open the settings icon, you see this mid part here, you can see all users. So yeah, you can add various users in your project team or organization. So if you have various users within the project team, that they all have access to this platform, which is what we'll discuss in another section of the video. You can always add users. Currently, I have access to only had 3 users. Now, those 3 users are people that are working on my project team, that whenever they are working, when they make adjustments on any of my library, this is the library here, I would see the person that made the adjustment. Okay, so if any of my team members makes an adjustment, I'll see the name of the person that made the adjustment and the date that adjustment was made. So it will be easier for me to track the usage of all of my documents. Based on what we did now, you check the resource section here. You see we already have site clearance, a resource here called site clearance, which is a labor-based item. The basic rate and the tax rate is also there. Then under add-on also, you see your contractors overhead and profit would also be here. That's the overhead and profit, which is 25%. Okay, so you see that while you're creating the work items, it is also populating the resource section and the add-on section. Okay, that way you are not left out in anything. Now let's quickly add the next work item, which is for topsoil removal. So just type in here, or still on that. So once you click here now, you now see it automatically brings out substructure as an existing category. Subcategory is not needed here because this is not under any subcategory. The name of the item is topsoil excavation, topsoil removal. Now this is also a unit rate analysis and it's a labor only item. That will be per square meter because we build our rates based on per square meter. Okay, for you to build this rate, you can just type in a sum directly or make use of this add resources. Now once you click on this add resources, it's a labor only item. So that's for labor for what? Topsoil removal. Now the quantity will be 1 square meter. So the cost per square meter, let's say we are charging 120 naira, for example. Then we add our tax item, which is 7.5%. Now let's say we're going to be making use of a bulldozer also for topsoil removal. Let's say we are working on a large project and it might require you to make use of a bulldozer or something. You can now click on this machinery and equipment. Just type in bulldozer. Okay, so 1, let's say per square meter based on your unit rate calculation and all of that, which is which was discussed in my estimating cost, the private estimating cost, where you get to see the cost per square meter for different mechanical equipment. Okay, out it was broken down from the daily cost to the coverage capacity and all of that. All that was discussed separately in my estimating cost, which you can enroll for later on. So let's say for this we are using 140 naira per square meter and 7.5. Then we now have our contractors overhead and profit. That adds on. Just click on this and just see overhead and profit. So you have your total rate here as 350 or 349.3. You see that it's populating all of this for you. Then click add. Now we've done this for topsoil site clearance. Now let's work with the next item of work here, which is for excavation. For excavation here, also you just input the name of the category that's still under substructure right now. So this will be substructure. This subcategory now be excavation. Now, so you have this for excavation right here. The name of the item will now be foundation excavation. So for this, will just still be a labor only item, and we are doing this is for manual excavation. That's per cubic meter. Now the rate here will just be labor for excavation. Once you have this here, the quantity per square meter and cubic meter rather. So the rates, let's say the rate for this would be at 900 naira per cubic meter. Then add our tax item, which is 7.5. Yeah. Once you click on this add icon here, then you add the contractors overhead and profit, which is 25%. Okay, and you have your total rate as 1,200. Yeah. Then you click add. So we have that already. You see, now we are already populating our library. And we're having various items of work here. Now let's quickly add a new item of work, which is, let's say for example, we have column based excavation. Let's just add this to our library. Still got subcategories here, still remains excavation. So the name of the item will be column based excavation. Now for this here, still unit rates, labor only. The quantity will be 1 per cubic meter. And we are doing a manual excavation, so that will just be labor only. For you see, now we have various resources here. We have the site clearance labor, topsoil removal labor, excavation labor. So this is just for the excavation labor that is under that resource per cubic meter. Just put the quantity 1. Now you see here we have the rate here, the tax item here. So that shows you that the software automatically adds all your various needed library for you. So while we are creating your library for each item of work, it is updating itself to fit your work process. Okay, now we have the overhead and profit here. Then add this in, still have the same rate because the rate for those two are usually similar. They're all under excavation. Did you see that? Now you see the date this was created on this day and it was created by me. Now let's add the next item, which is earthwork support. Now for earthwork support here, this is not to be a material and labor based item. No need for subcategory. The name of this will be earthwork support. For earthwork support, we have material and labor. Then the cost here is per square meter. Okay. Now the prices I will be using would be based on you. So the prices I'm giving here are not 100% accurate prices on market base. This is just sample prices that would allow you to make use of this software. So you can always do your own market survey when you are preparing to make use of the software for your own personal usage. That's just a little bit of disclaimer here. Now for this is material. And the first material will be softwood. I'll be plain softwood size. Kindly note there's a new course coming up at ADLM Studio, which we will be adding to our programs in the coming days. Now this new program here, you'll be able to do your architectural design, complete architectural design for simple bungalow building. Now this course is broken down into 3 sections. We have the course on simple bungalow building, so course on multi-story building, and detailed visualization and modeling course. Now for the course on the bungalow building, you'll be learning how to prepare your detailed drawing, you prepare the 3D design, the visualization, the documentation, and all of that. So everything that is needed for you to prepare a detailed architectural design is what you'll be learning, and you'll be making use of softwares like Revit, Lumion, and others. So those are new features at ADLM Studio. And you see now this is a sample of the kind of project you'll be carrying out during the coming course. So stay tuned, and you can always ask for more questions in the comment section on how to join the course, or you see the link to my WhatsApp admin on the description of this video, so you can just contact us on WhatsApp and you get more information about the course. Okay, so let's go back to the video. 1 by 12, that's 1 inch by 12 inch. Just type it in. You can also type it in also. Size 300 mm by 300 mm by 36. Mostly is usually 3300 mm. So that's the size of the wood. So this we just need one. So for 1 square meter of that plank here, we have 1 square meter, and we have the rate in here also. So you can type in the rate here as 1100 naira per square meter. Then you input your tax item also as 7.5. After we've done that, you can add the bracing, also material. You can either add it like that or just press enter key on your keyboard. Now bracing. For bracing, you can use the 50 mm by 25 mm hardwood. Now for this here, how many of this would we use for 1 square meter? So we'll have on the two sides, that's 1 meter, 1 meter. Okay, so we have 1 meter length, 1 meter length, then the adjustment, that's the sides also. So let's say we'll be making use of two numbers. Okay, so two numbers of hardwood bracing, and the cost of those two. Okay, so the cost for each of them there, that's, let's say, 450. Then input your tax item also as 7.5. Okay, so you have two numbers of this here. Then for your nail, add another material. Nails is in kg, so we are basically using 0.005 bag. Now this is usually depending on what you use based on your normal estimating practices, but for me here, we'll be using 0.05 of a bag. So just click this and bag. Okay, so the rate of this is around 18,000 naira. Then you can add your 7.5. Now once you have your this here, then we add our labor item. Now for labor here, you can just type in formwork labor. Now for formwork labor here, you would be using 1 meter square. So per meter square is how you pay the labor. So let's say we are paying him 550 per meter square. It can be more, it can be less. 7.5% the tax. Then I will add in my contractors overhead and profit here as 25%. So we have this as 4,635 naira. Okay, so this is it. This is how you build a rate for complex items of work. So all of this here is what constitutes this rate per square meter. See, no software in the quantity surveying history would do this in details for you. No software. But this software is doing all of this for you. Okay, it's giving you both estimating and quantity takeoff inside a single software. Now click on add here. Then that is for earthwork support. Now for leveling and compacting also, you can always use the same method. Now let's quickly move to concrete work. That's concrete footing or concrete foundation. Now the category here remains substructure. Subcategory becomes concrete work. Then the item name is concrete footing. Unit rate analysis, material and labor. So we have per cubic meter. Concrete is based on cubic meter. Now for us to get the cost per cubic meter, we need to combination of material and labor. Now we have to add our resources right now. Now for us to add our resources here, we come back to resource down here. This plus sign, material. So we have the first one is cement. See all the previous resources we've created for material. See them coming up here, but we're not making use of that. And we need cement per bag. Now, based on the mix ratio, when you are creating items like this, always add the mix ratio in front. That's 124. You have your cement as 6 bags, 6.01 in a 124 mix. Okay, and the price is 4,200 naira per bag. Then tax is 7.5. Then we have the next one. You can just press enter on your keyboard. It moves you to the next item. We have sharp sand, 30 tons and 20 tons. Then we have the quantity as 0.57. This is a year. At let's say 5,500. Then you add your tax in as 7.5. You have the next one, which is granite material. Still the same 20 tons. Okay. Now this is 0.14. Still tons, because granite is 2 times sharp sand. Okay, so tons here, and we have 8,500 for that. We have a 7.5. Then the next one is labor, so that will be concrete labor. Now for this concrete labor here, per cubic meter, we're paying 3,800. Add your VAT also. Then we have our overhead and profits at 25%. Once you add the rate, becomes 56,000 naira, and the standard rate is between 55 to 56,000 and 56 to 58,000 naira. That's standard rate for concrete. Now you've seen how we got that. Then add. That is how you build your rates using this software. So far we've been able to build for concrete work. Let's build for the next concrete work also, which is Oversite Concrete. Now for this also, click on add item. The category here is still substructure. The subcategory here still remains concrete works. And the name becomes Oversite Concrete. Now for this here, it still requires your unit rate and material and labor. This is 1 cubic meter per cubic meter. Now for each, you see you can't put the rate here, so you just do is material. The first one is cement. 1 changes to bag. See the bags. Now 6.01 rather. Remember your mix ratio is 1:4, so you can always indicate your mix ratio here also. When you are building your rate, the names and all of that should always try and indicate the mix ratio, especially for concrete works. Once you indicate your mix ratio, it makes your work easier. Okay, so when you're tracing it, you know the reasons why you're making use of all of these quantities. Yeah. Okay. The next one here is the next material, sharp sand. This is 0.57. Just enter. Then the next one is granite, 1.14. Enter. Now this, once you press enter, you see it gives you this, and you don't need this. And just click, once you hover your mouse around the one you don't need, just click this delete icon. You take that off there. Then you add your labor. For labor here, we have our concrete labor also, cost per cubic meter. Then add your overhead and profit. Then add. See how easy it is to create your library for items of work. Okay. Next item of work here is for reinforcement. And for reinforcement also, that's for your wire mesh. I just come back to work item, because this here still substructure. Now the category now becomes reinforcement. Now the name BRC Mesh. Now for your BRC Mesh, you need to rate material and labor per square meter, and BRC Mesh is measured in square meter. So the material here is the mesh itself, that's the wire mesh. You can put the full description of the material. Now for here, I need per square meter here. So an entire bundle is usually around close to 2 meter, 2 point something square meter, or 12 square meter, depending on the kind of bundle you are getting. Okay, so that will be 0.052 bundle per square meter. Okay, so that is what is required. So you need to look for bundle or row. Yeah, we have row here. So 0.052 row per square meter. Now you put the rate also. From our market survey, the rate can be like 20,000 naira per bundle. Then the tax is 7.5. Okay, then for the labor, yeah, labor will be paid around 2,000 naira per bundle. So that would be mesh labor per meter square or per row. That's 2,350 per row or 2,000 naira, 7.5. Okay, so we have this as your rate for this. So as your overhead and profit. Now, if you notice, they have a red icon here. Now, if I click on add to give me quantity not value, this is because the software only recognizes 2 decimal places. So I have to use 0.05. So that's why I'm using 0.05 here. Then you have all of this add. Okay, so we have for reinforcement here. You add items also for reinforcement also again. Here is still substructure category reinforcement. So let's say column reinforcement, for example. Let's say column starter reinforcement. I'm just trying to add this in so that you just know how to add reinforcement details to your library. So let's say column starter reinforcement, and you know your rate for reinforcement is per ton. So the quantity here is 1, then per ton. So in this here we have the material first. That's for 1 ton. You just buy reinforcement bar for the name. For the reinforcement bar here, the quantity is per ton as 1 the ton. Now the 1 ton of reinforcement bar goes around 365,000 naira. Okay, then you add your tax in 7.5. Then your binding wire. So for binding wire now, the quantity I will need for a single ton is 0.75. 75 rule of a 20 kg binding wire. So just type in 20 kg. So let's make sure you have all information here clearly stated, so that you won't be using a 10 kg rate for a 20 kg rate also. So that for row also, that's bundle or row. Then we have the costs also as 7,500. Then you have your revenue profit as, and the rate tax, that's as 7.5%. Then the next item also, we have our labor. So our labor for this year is around 25,000 naira. It may be more, it may be less. Just type in reinforcement labor. That will be per ton. So for a single ton, that's the cutting, forming, and all of that. So a single ton, we have 25,000 naira. Then we have 7.5% tax also added in. Then we have our contractors adds on, that's the overhead and profits. This. So we have this as our rate here. Okay. Once you're done with this, add this in. So that is how you build your rates from here. Now, for Blockwork also, which is the next and probably the final one, we have Substructure. Category here will be for Blockwork. Now, the name will be Blockworking Foundation. Now, for your Blockworking Foundation here, quantity is per meter square. Now, for you to build your rate here, the first material is your block, the block itself. Now, for your Blockwork here, per meter square requires 10 blocks per meter square. So number of blocks is 10 at 400 naira per block, as 9 inches block. Then we add your tax items of 7.5. Then the next one is your cement. Now you have your cement here in your library, just pick cement here. The quantity will be 0.22. That's for your mortar. Then for sharp sand also, we have our sharp sand in our library also. Let's come down to sharp sand here. But the quantity we'll be making use of for sharp sand is 0.09. Okay, that's for sharp sand here. And you see, because we have this in our lab, we don't need to have the cost. So in a situation where we are going to have a change in those prices, instead of to come down to each of these items of work and change the price, you would see a very fast way to update your price list of all your materials immediately. For us to do this here, we have to add a label. So that will be Blockwork label. So that will be per block. And we have 16 naira per block. Okay, so number of blocks will determine. Okay, so that's how you build your rate for your block work. Then we add our overhead and profits. That's contractor adds on. So we have our rate for block work as this already. Then you would add this in. You see, while we are doing all of this here, these are the items of works that we've built in our library. And coming down to the resource section, you would see all the materials here. So in a situation where you have to change the price, let's say for example, inflation occurs and you need to change any of the prices on your price list here. You see all of these items of work, you can just come into it. You can just search for the resource up here. When you search for the resource name, just click on it and you can easily change the prices. Okay, so once the library is updated, all your bills and every of your items of work that will be measured for would also be updated immediately. This is for this. So that's how you build your rate for simple substructure measurement for strip foundation. So with this here, we have your complete library. So we are going to build, is the same principle you would follow for building your complete library for all items of work for your build. As an organization, it is usually best you have your complete library. And once you have your complete library for all of your items of work, well, the next video, that's the second part of this video, we'll be seeing how to make use of this library for quantity takeoff and rate preparation, which you'll see like in just few seconds. Once you have your library and you have your resource and the price allocated, by the time you do your quantity takeoff, it allocates the actual prices to your bill. So you have like a mini bill preparation that gives you an estimated sum or your budgeted sum or proposed sum for that particular item of work or project. From that would use. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to this channel.